The theory that Space Marine 2 might explore the rise of a new Chaos God has generated significant speculation within the Warhammer 40k community. Here's a deeper dive into what this could entail. The Chaos Gods in Warhammer 40k. Khorne, the Chaos God of bloodshed and war. Nurgle, the Chaos God of decay and disease. Tzeentch, the Chaos God of change and deceit. And Slaanesh, the Chaos God of excess and pleasure. Each Chaos God embodies a specific aspect of chaos and human emotion. However, theories suggest that the introduction of a new Chaos God would fill a gap that might be missing, representing something that the existing gods don't currently dominate. This new god might embody a novel form of chaos that could exploit a different facet of the universe, such as control over beings without emotions like hive minds. The potential sources of a new chaos god could be born from an unprecedented source of power or emotion. One theory is that the god could arise from the collective fear and despair felt by humanity and other races as they are besieged by the threats of chaos. Moreover, the warp, a chaotic realm of pure psychic energy, is known to be shaped by the emotions and thoughts of sentient beings in the physical universe, and with the creation of the Great Rift, which is a massive warp storm that has split the galaxy, may have created the conditions for a new god to form, similar to how the other gods emerged. Now, the theory that the Emperor of Mankind could become a new Chaos God is one of the most intriguing and controversial fan speculations within the Warhammer 40k universe. This theory proposes that the Emperor, originally humanity's greatest defender, might ascend to godhood within the warp, perhaps as a Chaos God or some kind of counterforce to the existing four gods. Here's a detailed look at the elements supporting this idea. The Emperor of Mankind has always had a profound connection to the warp. Though he vehemently opposed the idea of being worshipped as a god, his psychic power is godlike, and he draws energy from the belief of trillions of human souls. Following the events of the Horus heresy and his battle with Horus, the Emperor was mortally wounded and placed on the Golden Throne. In his current state, he is kept alive only by the constant sacrifice of thousands of psykers, while his spirit exists in the warp. Moreover, with the constant psychic energy directed toward the Emperor, and with the worship he receives as a god across the Imperium, he is transforming into a warp entity, whether he wishes to or not. The Emperor's evolution into a godlike being is inevitable. This is power also shown by his sons. Lion El Jossen, the Primarch of the Dark Angels, after awakening, unlocked some of his warp powers and now is able to forest walk or teleport anywhere throughout the galaxy. Corvus Corax is now able to transform into a demon raven figure and taunt his traitor brothers. This is because the Emperor used advanced genetic engineering and the power of the warp to modify himself and all his sons, the Primarchs. An older piece of Warhammer lore, the Star Child theory. This suggests that when the Emperor dies, his soul will be reborn as a godlike entity in the warp. This Star Child would represent a new force of good, or at least a counterbalance to the existing Chaos Gods. Some fans believe that the Emperor's eventual death will lead to his ascension as a new warp god capable of opposing the corrupting influence of chaos. A darker interpretation of this theory suggests that the Emperor might not ascend as a force of good, but instead become corrupted by the very power that fuels him. The warp is a realm of pure emotion and chaos, and even the strongest of minds can be twisted by it over time. Now for the fun part, hints in the lore. First hint is the Emperor has been entombed on the Golden Throne for over 10 millennia, kept alive in a state of near death by the sacrifice of thousands of psykers daily. This constant influx of psychic energy suggests that the Emperor is being sustained not just physically, but also psychically in the warp. Next hint in the lore is when a group custodians and some high-ranking Imperial officials are said to have visions of the Emperor's spirit fighting within the warp, locked in eternal combat with the forces of chaos. This evidence shows us that the Emperor is already becoming a god, actively battling against the Chaos Gods on a spiritual level. With the creation of the Great Rift, there has been an increasing sense of the Emperor's evolving power. Some lore hints that the Emperor's Astronomicon the psychic beacon guiding ships through the warp, is becoming more difficult to maintain, possibly signaling a shift in his influence. In the Gathering Storm storyline, Reboot Guilliman, the Primarch of the Ultramarines, is resurrected and has an audience with the Emperor. Guilliman's reaction to this encounter is notable. He describes the Emperor as distant and more godlike than ever before, seemingly disconnected from his mortal form. Guilliman, once a staunch opponent of the Emperor's worship, returns from this encounter with a new sense of awe and reverence for his father, suggesting that the Emperor is no longer just a man, but something far greater. In conclusion, these hints from the lore paint a picture of an emperor who is gradually ascending to godhood, either through the faith of humanity or as a result of his own immense psychic presence. Whether he will become a benevolent god like the Star Child or a twisted version of the gods he once fought against remains one of the most compelling questions in the Warhammer 40K universe.